We always think of business continuity in terms of if there's some natural disaster or some civil unrest, something that we have to be able to do the function in another part of the world. And so our planning was always, assuming that the other parts of the world were operational, kind of thought about the fact that what if the entire world became unfunctional? And that's kind of what hit me. We had to quickly start thinking about how do we essentially, set up our entire organization to work from home very quickly. And in a lot of cases with Concur, or SAP Concur, we have a lot of virtual workers already, people that work from home. But in other parts of the world where we have, labs and offices and service centers, we had to quickly move to get those folks working from a home office. So places like the Philippines or India, we had to really get creative and try to get people set up so that they could work from home with a laptop and have access to the internet so they could do their jobs. We were able to quickly do that within about a week's time. We were able to mobilize and get pretty much almost 95% of our workforce working from home. And took a lot of creativity. We have what we call a country manager, and that person's responsible for essentially the operation of the entire service center. So a large part of my team falls under that service center leader. So that person actually helped us figure out the logistics, working with local IT, helping us secure hardware and laptops that we needed to be able to get folks from working from home. But the leaders that we're looking for, they have to really be, focused on the people, focused on the operation, understand the big picture, and that's pretty much what we had in each place. And I think that was a big part of our ability to quickly mobilize in a situation where we were trying to have business continuity across the globe. Services, my organization is about 4,000 people around the world. And so what we try to do on a quarterly basis, and we had actually already moved to what we call virtual QBRs, quarterly business reviews, where our top leadership, and that ranges between 80 to 100 people that represent our business around the world. And those folks we bring together, and we spend roughly 4 hours a day doing these QBRs over a 2-day period, a very tight agenda. There's some workshops that we do as well. And the nice thing about Zoom is that you can basically set up different work rooms, and we would do that. So some of it's just working on how we work and prepare for the next quarter. Some of it's looking back on how things went in the previous quarter and what things we can look forward to for the rest of the year. So the QBRs are huge. The leadership team, from a cultural perspective, we look for leaders that think big picture, think at a macro level. We try to discourage the concept of silos where, leaders tend to focus on their own teams and not necessarily about, how does your business or what you do affect the rest of the business. And so the leaders we look for are people that, when you talk to them, they talk about we, not I or me or my, and they think about, kind of the entire business, like at a macro level. And that's actually one of the conversations I had. It's like finding out what skill set. There was a part of the business that needed some help, and it said, well, what kind of skill set are you looking for? And then we look for folks that are that fit the type of need, and we do what are called fellowships, so that the person could spend 3 months or 6 months in a completely different role, and it also helps people to get exposure. So we were doing the fellowship program even before the pandemic. It's become really helpful, and it's funny. I was talking about a startup and being a part of a startup. I think we started out with about 20 people, and when we were acquired in 2006, we had about 70 people. And there's no place that really stretches you than a startup company, because you wear so many different hats, and it's kind of yes, what's the question, versus no, what's the question, and I think living through an Outtask, a startup company, really helps you kind of prepare for the future, because there's, even with this pandemic, it's like you've been through the battle, you've been through, like with Altask, we went through the bubble burst, the internet bubble. We dealt with 9/11 and being in a travel and expense solution vendor. 9/11 had similar impacts as this pandemic. So you kind of get to a point where it's like, you know what, it's, you roll up your sleeves, you do what you need to do, and you don't get too excited. The words "not my job" were not permitted, not allowed. If something needed to get done, you kind of stepped in and said, "Let's get this done. It's important." And that's kind of where we are right now. With the pandemic, it's like looking around and just making sure that we're taking care of our customers. We look for people in services, and I call it customer DNA. It's a certain mentality. You want to see if a customer likes to solve, or a candidate likes to solve problems. They like people, and there are questions you can ask to kind of find those people that really are passionate about that. And in the services world, that's one of the critical things. You have to like people. You have to like solving problems. Really be energized by that. And like I said, from a leadership perspective, we're looking for folks that really talk in terms of we and teams, and we accomplish this, not I or me or my. People that are really looking to help grow other people and are just really interested in the overall business, and again, really passionate about the customer.